Yes, yes, yes. People have come to join. Thank you, thank you. I felt like going live tonight because I had one of those days, and I'm just gonna be totally freaking real with you guys. I had one of those days that I was like, God, am I gonna make it through? And not because anything so severe happened that it caused me to think I might die or have an accident or something like that, but the amount of stress that I had to sustain, both mentally, emotionally, physically, all of it was so extreme today that I literally felt this like breaking down of the energy in my body. And I'm like, my God, can I freaking do this? And as a result of being like, coaxing myself, like, okay, I can do this. I've got it within me. I can do this. I'm made to handle all this stuff. I've started coming to a lot of realizations and asking some deep fundamental questions, and then moving beyond even the need or act of asking fundamental questions in the way that we always do, which is all story based and language based, and all these things that each of us ascribe particular meaning to that, for all we know, may not even really mean anything. So, we look at us first of all, okay? Look at what we are doing as a species. Like, one, as I open this up here, as I wrote on it, and if anybody wants to ask questions or anything like that, please do. I'll get into some deep stuff, and then let's, ask questions, whatever. And my goal and intention here is to help everybody become more aware of what their true nature is so that they can self illuminate it within them and then embody the virtues of what living in that realized state represents. Because maybe you haven't gotten the call or realized it yet, and I'm sorry if I say anything that offends people. Actually, I'm not sorry. If you don't like it, you can go. But we are in the midst of cataclysmic change, and most of the inhabitants of our planet that are human are not with this. They're not going along, they're not embracing this change. They're resisting the change that we're witnessing. And as a result of them resisting it, they're actually creating more of a quantum collapse kind of scenario where they're resisting change. They're resisting the unknown because it's fearful to them. They don't know it. They don't know what it is. They don't know what's on the other side of it. And so they feel apprehensive about embracing it and bringing it into their life and living like, yay, okay, it's change, it's here. They're like, I want to get my frickin' vaccine and go back to normal. And guess what? There is no going back to normal. And even if there was some iota of a chance that we could go back to something that somewhat resembled the normalcy of before, there is some massive, monumental, pivotal, fundamental truths that we have not taken into responsibility as both the individuals we are and our relation to the collectivism, if you will, as the species that we are. And that is the life that we live is not in harmony with this planet. The cars we drive, the houses that we live in, the way we like to live, we're consumerists. We consume things and place value over them, infinite value on all those things, thinking that they are the end all and be all of our existence in this state of form. And thus we empower those things. We give this beautiful energy and attention that is inside of us to thinking that the acquisition of consumer goods, whether it be products or services or entertainment or whatever, is going to make us happy. And that shit makes us happy for a second, but then we find out real quick that it doesn't bring lasting happiness. So look at us. We are a species that is living completely out of harmony with the natural world. Like, if that in and of itself doesn't cause people to be like, whoa, All right, let's freaking put on the brakes here. Let's look at this. Like we the way we've been living with all our consumer wants and needs and the things that we think are so important and matter more than anything, that we're actually taking our life force, our soul, and we're trading it for money. So essentially we are selling our soul to earn money that is part of a crumbling system that we're seeing systemically crumbling around the world, that also just consequently happens to be enslaving us. And we want to return to that normal. Like, really? Like, I don't want to return to that normal. Do you? And again, if anybody has any questions or anything, please do. Looks like it's low visibility here tonight. Maybe my intense energy just is turning some people off, but that's okay because, all right, I actually took notes here for the first time in my life. I just get into a flow and I channel information and I just present, and that's all I've ever done. But I wanted to take some notes tonight because I was having a wonderful conversation with my friend Martha, and we were both feeling the intensity of a lot of these things that are happening right now. Like right now, I have a dear friend who's one of the closest people in the world to me, this woman that I love, like my sister, whose partner has brain cancer that is so severe that they are not going to treat him anymore. And he made a wish to come home to be with his family and loved ones and not die in the hospital. And she's like really digging deep to like find the strength to be able to do this. And I'm like, wow, like, oh my God, like, of course I'm going to help you. Of course I'm going to do what I can to be present with you. And whether it's energy healing, whether it's just being there, whether it's doing like whatever, like, but I'm thinking about it. I'm like, we, with our consumeristic ways of life, are living like parasitical organisms. We are like dystopian, dysbiotic bacteria that is not living synchronized to the host. And as a result of that, we're creating discord, we're creating chaos, we're creating incoherence with nature. And do we think that we can go on doing this for just forever and everything's going to be fine? Or do we deep down realize that we can't keep doing this forever and that changes are going to have to be made, but we're the ones that are going to have to make the changes. Like usually people will be like, they'll point the finger, whether it's to blame somebody or something that is causing them to feel victimized, or they're going to point the finger to someone who the savior complex, like, oh, they're gonna help us, they're gonna save us. Guess what? When you don't take responsibility for how you perceive reality and you expect somebody else to do it for you, or you blame somebody else for you not feeling the way you want to feel, you are diminishing your ability to exercise this divine potential within you. Now, when I say divine potential, let's not get carried away here. Okay, let's not take this into fairy tale land and unicorns and like that's not what I'm talking about. There is a profound, miraculous source of energy in each and every single one of us that is causing our heart to beat. Okay, it's causing everything in our body to happen faster than the speed of light. But we're more focused on getting the vaccine and life going back to normal than we are this miracle that is inside of us. And you know what happens when we focus on this miracle? Suddenly, we start to feel more connected with the rest of our body, the organs in our body. We become more coherent. And we say, oh my God, that's what love feels like. I forgot. I actually love my heart. I love this life experience. Even though they're hard to like, I actually love people in this world. And you start to remember that It's these kinds of shifts that me, the individuals are required to make if we're going to move out of this fear-based, oh my God, please save me with the vaccine, or fuck you, get away from me, I'm not taking the vaccine mentality, which are both two sides of a coin that is a part of a monetary and governmental and religious system that is systemically crumbling all around the world, and that we are the ones who are being called up into the spotlight, okay? The platform that we're on, we have incarnated for a coming incarnate in flesh into these flesh and being organisms as these people we believe ourselves to be for a limited time to learn how to love it or resist it. And when we learn how to love it, suddenly we become synced up in coherence with all of the miracles that are taking place in our body. And then we start becoming aware that this miracle of life that is animating us also extends outwardly immediately around us, which we can work with and bring in and embody and free up all the trauma and past issues that are stuck in our body. But that also expands infinitely into infinity, to the degree that when we work on ourselves internally and get all coherent from the inside out, then we start to be able to embody these greater infinite coherent potentials as they pertain to the being that is in our body, to the soul, this miraculous soul that we are selling for money by trading in our life force and living. We're addicted to it, okay? That's what addiction, okay, substance abuse, drugs, sex, all that's one part of addiction. Real addiction is addicted to the thoughts, beliefs, patterns, behaviors that we've actually been so addicted to for so long that we've normalized it. We think it's just normal to be this person living this life. And so look at how we treat each other. The schools, the institutions teach us that we need to compete with each other, not love each other. They teach us that we have to, now they're teaching us we need to be afraid of each other. We need to mask ourselves up. We need to cover ourselves. We need to go away from each other. We have to, fuck you. We are here to love each other. We're here to feel compassion and love within our bodies for each other. The miracle in life in me is the miracle of life in you. This is what is going to make our immune system strong. Okay? And another addiction that is really important that people are just balls deep in, excuse me for the language, I don't usually talk like this for those who know me, but we are balls deep into this belief that these stories that are mass circulating are the be all and end all of our lives. And that, my friends, is us selling our power short for a story that maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But regardless if it's true or not, we are taking this attention, this energy that we could be investing in cultivating within us a connection to the miracle of life that we truly are, and then living in this world, reflecting that miracle to all who witness us. Or we can do the exact opposite and put up walls, put up fears, wear masks, block each other off, not feel empathy, be afraid of all the people. We could do all those things. And is that going to bring the change that we want? Because I'm hearing now, okay, everybody's lining up, getting ready for the vaccines. Not everybody, but a lot of people getting ready for the vaccines. But even after the vaccines are implemented, we still have to do social distancing. We still have to wear a mask. We still have, what? Really? Are you fucking serious? No, okay? So there's two things going on. and I'm going to bring the energy down. I'm going to go more coherent. I'm going to start to channel and bring in something that's a lot more loving. And that is going to be more empowering, because that's essentially what this is all about. So when we live in this unconscious state of being where we're constantly addicted to thinking that consumeristic goods and people, places, external things are going to bring us the fulfillment that we actually want, to happiness, all these things come as a result of us feeling complete and whole within ourselves. If we keep thinking that all those things are going to bring it, then we are feeding a system that is systemically collapsing, that also consequently is imprisoning us at the same time. And that also happens to cause us to live with our cars and our houses and our clothes and our things and all the things that we do that are mined from the earth, that are used in a way so that they are destroying this planet, so that these beautiful creatures that actually have an indigenous right to exist here don't have an indigenous right to exist here. So are we going to choose to live this consumeristic way of life and basically giving the finger to all these beautiful beings that we could harmoniously be sharing this planet with? Or are we going to say, you know what? I'm going to stop listening to the news. I'm going to stop listening to the narratives, the stories. I'm going to stop creating my own stories. Instead of taking this all so seriously, I'm going to laugh. Because, a lot of healers and people want us to examine, our trauma and all that stuff by feeling it and going deep into it. Fuck that. Like, let's laugh, let's smile, let's have a good time. Like, when you laugh and you smile and you're just like, that's really what is going to bring healing to your body. When you feel uplifted, loving, elevated emotions, then this universal force that is animating your being and causing you to exist, which is also hyper conscious, is going to be like, whoa, everybody's all scared and freaked out and messed up. But look at that one's happy. That one's smiling. It's laughing. Like, let's give this one support, because that feeling of being elevated, of being uplifted, of being in love is more in coherence to this greater coherent force that is animating the entire world and breathing all of this into existence. So it's come down to the wire. It's funny to say, but it has. We are at the cutting edge evolutionary impulse of the great source of universal life itself. Are we going to choose to evolve with it? Because if we do, then suddenly we stop placing less priority on all these external things, machines, cars, money, people, relationships, whatever, and we start placing much more prioritized value on states of being, on how healthy we feel inside, on how whole we feel. And then once we're feeling more whole and more in love, we want to take these skills that we've developed, this compassion, this passion for life, this love that we feel within us, and we want to work on, once we've gotten our relationships right, hence the term right relationship, then we start valuing relationships with others. And instead of competing with everybody like school has taught us so that we can fit into a hierarchical mold for corporate welfare that's actually really corporate warfare, and we realize, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore, then we get into a harmonious, loving state, and we are able to function in a way where we are the beacons of light. We are the beacons of a coherent frequency that up to this point in the world is something new. It is new when we, as these beings we believe ourselves to be, decide that we're going to stop becoming addicted to all of our thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, actions, patterns, drugs, conditions, whatever. Everybody's addicted to everything, but the root cause of addiction is addiction to ego, to the belief that you are a person separate from the miraculous life force that is animating your body, and separate from this miraculous, invisible, seemingly unknowable, alive miracle of life, reality that is the only reason any of this is happening at all. So we're not giving credit where credit is due, for one. Okay, this energy that's causing my heart to beat, that's causing your heart to beat, this is what is allowing us to exist here. And we're not showing it very much gratitude. We're like, oh no, I want my car, and oh, I want this, and oh, I want, like, no. When really we could be living very devotionally, very much in a loving, coherent state where we're breathing rhythmically and we're smiling inwardly. And we're like, oh my God, I love this. I love my life. I love the fact that I can breathe. And I'm so grateful that whatever this energy is, it's giving me the opportunity to exist in this human form, however temporary or long that may be. And you begin to reprioritize your values so that you begin to love that more than all of these external things that will never bring you lasting fulfillment or happiness. And you start to realize that the pursuit and your willingness to exercise your choice to love your body, others, the world, the species of this planet, are going to cause you to think and feel in a way that generates solutions so that we, as these species that we are, with this technology that we've created, can use it all together harmoniously in a way that will benefit all. Because if we do not do that, if we do not sober up and wake up and choose this path of self-love and loving each other and loving all of life, and if we do not govern ourselves, then the story is there is a big group of depopulist people who are like, look, these guys are destroying this planet. Let's depopulate them. And you know what? Can you blame them? You know? And go ahead if you want to, you know, shut this video off. But really, look at who we're being. Look at how we're being. Look at what we're doing. We are not living in harmony with what we have the potential to be in harmony with. Do we deserve equal right with the rest of the beautiful species on this planet? I would say at the rate that we've been going, we don't. But at the rate that we have the capacity to, we do. However, that's why we're having this talk right now. I know that within me, I can take my disconnected, fucked up human self that has been traumatized and conditioned by this world, and I can willingly choose to focus on this energy that is in me. And when I do that and I make a habit out of doing it, that fucked up mental ward lost person that thinks all these things are going wrong with the world suddenly becomes corrected by the internal coherent force of this energy that is animating my being and causing my heart to beat. And this is within the capacity of every single human being alive. Doesn't matter who you think you are. It doesn't matter how small you think you are. And it doesn't matter how big you think you are. Everybody has the right to do this. And in fact, if we don't do this, then we are subjecting ourselves to a massive depopulation scheme. You can't say I blame them. So if anybody has any questions and they want to ask things, please do. I'll gladly ask questions and think of things, you know, if you want to say. And if not, I'm gonna cover something else that's really important too. And this is the idea of stories and narratives. You know, because I said there's this story of all these people, the Illuminati, who are gonna depopulate us, and Agenda 21, and yeah, all that stuff might be real. It also might not be real. Or like the telephone game, which we played when we were in school, the reality of what it actually is and what we think it is are so sklawed or skewed or flawed from this massive misinterpretation that just naturally takes place because the way humans perceive information and then transfer that information to others just, it's not an exact science, and for all who don't know, the telephone game is this. And we did this when I was a kid in school, and this is why I remember it so well, because we did it and it rocked my world. It literally, I was like, it's one of the few things I remember in school, because I was like, wow, that's insane. Like, that's crazy. So for those who don't know, I'll say this: the teacher told the first child in the beginning of the class a story, and then, or a couple paragraphs or whatever, a couple sentences, whatever. And they said, hey, Mariah's here. Mariah may have even been part of this, the social game that they played with us. I don't know, I said the name of it, social phone, I don't know, I forgot. See, this is how I just talk with things that come up. But anyway, the teacher told the first student in the class a few sentences, and they told that student, the telephone game, that's what it is. They told that student to then tell the student behind them the same story, and ask them to tell the student behind them the same story. And so by the time that beginning story that the first teacher told the first kid at the front of the class it filtered through all the kids in the class and made it to the last kid in that class, the story that last kid told was nothing like the first story that the teacher told to the entire class. You remember? Yes! This is awesome. I love it. So my point is, okay, the telephone game represents a metaphorical reality that we're so dumb. We're so addicted to. We just believe it. We're like these sheeple people just believing that these stories. So stories, my friends, even though I wrote a book and a memoir, which I urge everyone to read, it's just a story, okay? And even though things happen to you in your life and you're aware of them, it is the act of making the things that happen to you hold more significance than they do that a story emerges out of it. And that's where we, as these self-chosen, willing to be in coherence beings that we are, have to be strong enough to exercise our willpower to discern the difference between the intuition that happens and is guiding us as a result of us being in tune with ourselves, and the stories, the external stories that we get from the world around us. Now, most people can't tell the difference, and they don't trust their own intuitive guidance enough to really own it, and so they hear, oh my God, this is happening and that's happening and all these stories and the vaccine's going to save them, and they're just hanging on to every word, they're believing every word. And it goes on the other side of the scope too, even with the new age people and all these new age agendas, and Donald Trump is going to save the world, and all both sides, okay? And I'm not saying they're not true or they're not. What I'm saying is that we are perceiving all of this stuff from filters that are constructed. The filters themselves are constructed of us perceiving narratives that are second, third, fourth, fifth hand, whatever, information from others who maybe misinterpreted what the initial information was. And we've taken this all to be gospel. We have taken all of these stories, these interpretations that other people are hearing and trying to convey to us as literal truths, and selling ourselves short, selling this beautiful, divine, whatever this miracle of life is in us that's causing our heart to beat, and this beautiful body and attention that we have. We are selling that short for money, for a system that we are all witnessing breaking down around us. And there's a whole bunch of people who are like, oh, I want the vaccine so it's going to go back to normal. People, there is no going back to normal, okay? Normal is not coming, okay? And if it did come, then the normal would be us living as these beings we are, so that all these other beautiful species in all these habitats all over the world can't live, okay? And that doesn't work, okay? And whether Trump or Biden or who, I don't even know any other world name leaders in none of other countries, none of these people are going to address these core fundamental issues and bring solutions to them. We are, okay? You are. It's going to be us as individuals who are going to change this world, if it's going to change. And if it's not, then expect a mass culling, because we are a parasitic, cancerous organism that is living on this planet, destroying it. And we think we are something. We think we're great. We think because we have this like technology where we can talk to each other here and all this stuff. You know what? There are beings, and you can believe this if you want, and I don't care if you do, and you can shut it. It's fine if you don't want to believe it. But I have been in touch with beings that have technology that is so far advanced from everything that we think is advanced here, that our stuff is like junk, broken junk. It's literally like junk what we're using. And the reason why these beings have levels of technology that we can't comprehend with our current states of being is because these beings at an early stage in their evolutionary development recognize that the true technology was not these external gadgets and wires and civilizations and whatever. It is the internal wires. It is the glands. It is the technology that is present within the human body, that the individual who thinks they're separate from everything, but they're actually not, is choosing to activate all these dormant energy centers within their body. That is the real technology that allows us to evolve technology in a way that is going to be much more congruent with reality. That's it. So, all right, David's saying, I hear you, bro. That old normal felt like a negative alien planet to me since my early 20s. That's why I went on art a long time ago. And yes, to create something that I could find important. I couldn't work in the what I call hypnotized society anymore. It literally made me sick, and unfortunately still does. Work in progress. I find it a huge challenge, and to participate in this normal life. May the new normal be crazy beautiful and connected normal. What a beautiful quote, brother. How beautiful. Yes, and here's the thing, like, and this is why we're having this talk, because the new normal is going to come from us, okay? And it's going to come from us by us choosing to go internally, okay? The new normal is going to come as a result of us going internally to prioritize states of being that are whole, that are complete, so that these glands, the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, the thyroid gland, the thalamus gland, the social plexus, the solar plexus, it's become a social plexus, all of these neural, social, I'm getting tired, all of these plexus centers are, when activated with this coherent energy, are what are going to allow us to become aware of these self-evident universal truths that already exist within us. And they are going to help us break through the illusion of us thinking everything's all right, we just want it to go back to normal, when deep inside of us is a seed of something that knows this way of life we've been living is not sustainable and it can't be held up. So the more we choose to love ourselves, to love each other, the more we make these internal states of being a priority by activating them, by getting into these coherent states, which is great ways to be doing all this now. These super advanced beings that are watching us, they're like, we're on probation right now, okay? There's no get out of jail free pass cards for any of this. And believe me, I've been to jail. And I had to go to jail to realize that I was in a jail long before I was physically incarcerated, and that we are still in a jail. The whole thing is a jail, and we are trading our life force off to support this jail. Hello? So, David brought up some great things here. Art, expression. Okay, when we get into these loving, coherent, connected spaces, expressing that in our own unique way, whether it's through the arts, whether it's through music, whether it's through writing, whether it's through math, whether it's through whatever, we all have unique genius blueprint codes within us that become naturally activated when we willingly choose to get into these coherent states. Those things just come up naturally. They're just there. So the question becomes, do we love life enough to put in the time, the effort? It's not time at all. To put in the effort to activate these dormant perceptual energy centers that reside within and around our glands and all the neural networks that are spread throughout all of our body? Are we going to program them and condition them to be harmonious with the greater coherence of the natural world around us that we are destroying at an alarming rate, and that is also in coherence with the solar system, the galaxy, the universe? Because when we as individuals choose to create this conscious coherence within us, then all of these other celestial objects that are already in coherence with reality start to support us in tangible ways that we can feel, that break down our egoic barriers of perception that would prevent us from realizing that these great beings are there to assist us in our own evolutionary process. And when we start to feel a little bit of that, and we start to become attuned to a little bit of that, there's no going back. Suddenly, the new car doesn't seem so enticing as having a pineal gland, which is back here, or a pituitary gland that is lit up and throbbing with the same energy that the heartbeat is throbbing from, and the amount of information that is being received and transmitted as a result of the individual who has said, you know what, this world, no. The way that everybody is living, that's not for me. I know that I am greater than this. I know that this love that I feel within me can be amplified and magnified exponentially times infinity. And I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to take that infinite amplitude of loving energy and I am going to emit it through all of my human faculties, whether it's through speaking, whether it's through singing, whatever it is, sorry. I need to get warmed up before I sing. Whatever it is, this is how we govern ourselves. And when we come together with this level of maturity, then we are showing all these species of beings, okay? And if you don't think aliens are real, here's another wake-up call for you, okay? We are aliens. They are real. This is a living galaxy. This entire galaxy is alive. Everything is alive. And if you want to be so egotistical enough to think that human beings have it all figured out and that we are the beacon of the evolutionary impulse in real time, I have news for you. We're not, okay? But we are in a phase where if we choose to embody this loving greatness that we truly are, then all of these much more highly advanced beings who are acutely aware of everything that is happening here are going to recognize, like, wow, they're maturing. They're doing it. And we don't need most of us to do it. We only need some of us to do it. But we got to really do it. We got to be all in. We got to be really committed to this. So, Kate, hi Kate, good to see you. Tabitha said, we have to remember who we are. Yes, because we are that no matter what. no matter what, that is what we are. Jen said, I am becoming aware of how the earth loves us so unconditionally. Thank you for always reminding me of what is true and around us all the time. Love. Yes. And this is and this whole idea of being afraid of each other and thinking everybody's going to make us sick and all these things. This is what's going to make us sick. This fear of it. Okay. Confront the fear. Realize that it's a phone game story. It's a telephone game story being broken down through all these different channels. And it's not more valid than the intuitive guidance that is speaking to you from countless lifetimes of your own evolutionary journey through all these different life cycles. The same intuitive guidance that is also speaking to you from countless ancestors who have lived and died and are within your DNA and within you energetically guiding you. If you listen to that intuition instead of the external guidance that the world is giving us, things will change fast for you and things will change fast for us. And we will be able to meet at a plane where we can all say, oh my God, I remember you. I remember you. I remember you in all these different ways and I love you. And my God, how did I forget that I loved you? And I can't believe that I was competing with you for money in this. And we'll stop all that. That's childish stuff. It's immature in the eyes of the universe and the beings that are witnessing us. Like, don't we want to bring our best self forward? I do. In fact, I've committed my life to only doing this. And with the highest source of life as my witness, if I am not living in right action with that quintessential desire, I've taken all my desires and I've focused them into that one desire of being a pure expression of source. If I am not doing that, then fucking beat my ass until I am. Okay? That's the level of conviction. And before you make a declaration like that, or you want to show up with that kind of conviction, like you're that, be willing to be ready to face whatever it is that'll come as a result of you thinking you're that much of a spiritual badass. Because it will. But you know what? The love that you have within you for this, even if it's small, even if it's just a little bit, will bring you through the darkest nights of the soul every single time. I shouldn't be alive right now. I shouldn't even be here. The fact that I'm talking to you guys is a miracle. The fact that you're even here listening is a miracle. Look at this. Okay, this is a miracle. This is all a miracle. None of this, okay, the most brilliant scientific minds on this planet cannot describe what this is or why this is happening. Consciousness does not live in a specific point in the brain. They can't find it. It's non-local. That means it doesn't live in a specific point of the brain. It is animating the human being, much like we are an antenna for some kind of animation of something that is much greater than us. And we have the potential to be harmonized with that greatness. But the choice to do that is squarely upon us as individuals alone. And I know what choice I've made. What choice are you going to make? Do you love life, or do you love this fucking twisted, mask-wearing, top-down, hierarchical structure, fear-based, to make us feel like we are disempowered? You're going to buy that shit? You're going to sell that shit? Then your own intuitive guidance system, then your own flesh and blood that's keeping you alive, that you're not giving any love to, you're going to believe these stories that these people you don't even know are telling you more than the love of your own family members? It's time to grow up. And you know what? Joe Dispenza says this, and I love Joe Dispenza. I think he's one of the best people out there right now who are teaching people personal change. I don't know how he says it, so I don't want to butcher it, but essentially, you can change in a state of love and joy, or you can change in a state of pain and suffering. But most people don't even think about change until they've been brought to that rock bottom state of pain and suffering. So here we have an opportunity to change. Okay, like right now it's intense. The energies are really intense. The pressure's coming down. Like the whole quote unquote depopulation agenda, there's so many layers of so many things happening all at once, all around, that it is discombobulating and it's confusing, and it's meant to be. They want us to be confused by layers of infinitude of all these different things, because if we're always like, oh no, that's the problem, oh no, this is the problem, oh no, it's her, it's him, it's them, it's this, it's that, when we're doing that, we're not doing this. We're not smiling. And remember, smile means start my internal love engine. We're not breathing slowly and rhythmically and feeling the field that is causing our heart to beat. And we're not prioritizing that. And when we do prioritize it, and we commit to prioritizing it, suddenly these glands that are dormant in everybody start to wake up and activate. And we realize that in addition to being glands, they're also jewels. And what I mean by that is they are encoded with universal knowledge and wisdom that it graciously wants us to become aware of. Because when we do become aware of it, we suddenly are like, oh my God, I'm giving all this energy away to all these things, but the real value is inside. The real reality is inside, and we're living in this false construct, narrative, confusion, all these things. So the choice is, are you going to choose the calm in the center of the storm and make that calm the predominant reality in your life and in the reality around you? And this is what I do every day if you want an inspiration or whatever. And this is what I'm committed to no matter how fucked up my life gets. And it's been fucked up. And again, like I said, I swore a lot tonight. I usually don't, but I don't give a fuck tonight. So when you love this, it loves you back. And that is the relationship that is really, really more valuable than any consumeristic relationship that we have to a car or another person or another thing, unless that is of divine origin. That's a whole different story. So I'm here. I know there's others. There is this miraculous energy in each and every one of us that is causing our heart to beat. It's causing all the organs in our body to exist. And when we give our attention to that in a calm, loving state of being, it starts giving attention back to us. And then suddenly all of the stories, we don't even care about them. And when they come up, we're like, oh yeah, oh, a new story. Perfect practice for me to practice not being attached to any story. Because really, it's not, there's no story here. There is a new frequency that wants to come into all this, and it wants to come through us, but we have to be the ones to birth it through us, or the stewards is another way of looking at it. It's up to us to be the stewards of this energy. And it's not a new energy, it's just new for the way we've been living on this planet. All right, I've said enough. Does anybody have any more questions? And thank you. The attendance got a lot better. Sabrina said, everything perception that is not love is illusion. It is all perfect. The world doesn't need to change. We must change our relationship to it by becoming conscious of our constant creative participation with reality from within our minds and hearts. Perfect. Perfectly said. I wouldn't expect anything less from Sabrina. Yes, and Tabitha's saying Akashic Records and a lighthouse, if you will. Absolutely. It's all that, and for sure, and it's none of that, because at the end of the day, like, I know in my own evolutionary growth, the more I evolve, the more conscious I become, the more I become aware of layers of subconscious stuff that I didn't even know that was there. And from there, I continue to become more aware because I'm constantly building a bridge, a shiny golden bridge of coherence. And with my conscious awareness of reality and coherence and my subconscious reality being unearthed into awareness, then my unconscious, that which I don't know that I don't know, suddenly starts to become conscious within this coherent bridge that I'm creating within myself. And that, even though it sounded like it was special, and it is, it's the most special thing there ever could be, it is within every single human being on this planet to cultivate. And when they do, or if they do, they will discover priceless gems that are infinitely more valuable than all the money on the face of this planet combined together. And also infinitely more powerful and solution-oriented than all the problems that exist in us and on this planet at the same time. But we've got to do it. So if anybody has any questions, anything at all, if you want to share love with me, yes, I love you. I truly, truly love you. And I love you because you're not separate from me. I literally know you as a frequency that is in me, that is also in you. And when we can relate to each other like that and hold each other in that light and encourage the best in one another from that place, that's more of what the new world has the potential to look like. So you know where to find me, and you know what I'm doing. And all of these stories and things, whatever, they're just unresolved aspects of us that we can only face by loving ourselves from the inside out so unconditionally that they eventually get the picture. And you'll know what I mean. You just love this force so much, that's letting you be here so much, that it does the work for you. All you got to do is connect to it, and then it'll connect you to everything. All right. Thank you, everybody. Love you. Good night. And I'll see you soon.